should be an offensive day.
Yeah, and the Brewers are pitching Mike Fiers today. He's kind of a fly ball type pitcher, not a real good fit for him in this ballpark today. He's off to a very rough start. We saw Addison Russell hit his first major league home run yesterday, and I talked to 3 or 4 people today when I first got to the ballpark, and the first thing out of their mouth was, this is the day that Chris Bryant is going to hit his first big league home run.
And Jorge Soler in the leadoff spot. We'll hear from Joe here in a couple of minutes on his rationale, but might he go deep since Joe doesn't want him to think home runs?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the idea is to put him at the top of the order, kind of change the job description instead of trying to drive in runs. Just have good at-bats, try to get on base, tighten up the strike zone discipline a little bit, and who knows, maybe he'll run into one here today.
Let's get the highlights from Game 1 on Friday afternoon, and the sun was shining. A little bit cool. Temps in the upper 40s as we got going, and it ended up being a pitcher's duel. Third inning. And this would be the only swing of the bat the Cubs would need. Addison Russell with his first career home run. That came off Willie Peralta. Man, the Cubs really made Peralta work.
Yeah, indeed they did. That's been kind of their MO all season long, running deep counts. Peralta out early. A good at-bat there by Russell. This would have been a tough game to lose. Cubs lost a couple base runners early in the game, thrown out, trying to take extra bases. They had a lot more traffic than did the Brewers because that guy, John Lester, was really, really good yesterday afternoon.
7 innings for Lester, 90 pitches. Joe thought about leaving him in, but the Brewers had a bunch of right-handed hitters coming up late. He had the top guys in his bullpen rested and ready to go. Strop and Rondon. Pedro Strop off to a really good start. And then in the 9th inning, we saw nothing but four-seam heat from Hector Rondon.
Yeah, the trust factor in Pedro Strop is really good right now for Joe Madden, and Rondon came out to finish it off, his 5th save of the year, throwing 97, 98 mile-an-hour fastballs. A little drama. They got a 2-out double, but Adam Lind grounded out to shortstop, and game over.
So the Cubs improving to 13-8 on the season. Milwaukee dropping to 5-18. Another win for the Cubs over the next 2 days, and that would be 0-for-8 in series play for the Brewers, who've gotten off to a terrible start. Let's hear from Joe Madden on hitting Jorge Soler in the leadoff spot today.
Oh, I've been debating on this one just to get him going. Really, I've done it in the past with different guys, and just to have him think differently. That's just to think differently. It's not, it's not about changing your mechanics or trying new things, just to think differently. And I'm all about, when a hitter's not going as he can, the last thing you want to do is change his physical mechanics. You want to change his mental mechanics first. So right now, he sees his name in the leadoff spot. He's got a different vibe about him. Probably a little bit more carefree, I would think, about the day. And the whole job I want to get across to him is, you're out there to score runs. Don't worry about homers. Don't worry about hits. Go out there and score runs. So I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but I will.
But you did this with Javi in spring training, and it kind of worked a little bit.
Without Javi, I've done in the past in Anaheim and also with the Rays. And it's always a pretty good hitter that you do it with, to try to, again, just get them to think differently. And we'll see how it plays. I talked to Dexter about it. He was all for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like with Dexter, you just want to have a different approach to his at-bats today than normally, or just to think it out a little bit.
You're talking about Dexter?
Yeah, Dexter too.
Yeah, I prefer him just doing what he's been doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want him to. I don't want him though. I told him I just wanted to try to unearth the other guy, and not necessarily. I wasn't worried about. I think Dexter's doing really well.
So maybe to help the offense too, because 2 runs in the last, I think, 17 innings.
Yeah, it's. We've seen good pitching. We saw good pitching yesterday also. We had opportunities too. It may help. We'll see. This is more designed for George specifically, to see if we could just get him to feel a bit better about himself.
You look at the young players, like with the scout side that you have. In other words, the scouts look to see how your young guys act when they first get tested as far as inside pitches, getting hit, moved off the plate. You look at that and absorb that pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I do, and Chris has had a couple. Primarily, I mean, Rizzo he just stands on the plate and dares them. I mean, he doesn't even wear any body armor. That's an incredible part of what he does. I think our guys have reacted, and I don't think anybody's throwing at us intentionally at this point. That's part of the game. Pitchers need. I mean, I like when our guys move the other team's feet. It's about moving their feet, giving them something else to think about, and creating a wider plate, and that's part of the game as a pitcher. and you have to be tough enough to handle it both ways. Some pitchers won't do that because they're afraid of hitting the guy, and they won't even attempt to widen the plate. The hitters, you just got to get back up there, put the seatbelt back on, and get in there. But for the most part, I've been pleased with how our guys have reacted.
Good stuff as always from Cubs manager Joe Maddon. We'll hear from Dexter Fowler when we return. Today, game 2 of this weekend set. Cubs a 1-0 winner yesterday, and they're right in the midst of a long stretch of games against their own division. You see the next road trip will be at St. Louis. The Cardinals are red hot, and then 3 more against the Brewers, and then the New York Mets come to town a week from Monday, along with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dexter Fowler, big week so far. He's been getting on base a ton. He's going to hit second in the lineup today. Had a chance to chat with Kelly Kroll.
You've been on some teams that have won a lot. Explain how important it is to be off to a good start in the month of April and take that into May.
Oh, it's huge. You never want to be. You always want to be in striking distance. You don't never want to be, down where you're so down that you're climbing an uphill battle. And the atmosphere here is crazy. And as soon as it starts warming up, hopefully the Cubs stay hot.
Speaking of a crazy atmosphere, and you just saying you've been on some winning teams, have you ever been on any teams though that celebrate in the way this team does, with dance parties, smoke shows, whatever you guys want to call it in here?
No, I haven't, but it's awesome. It's awesome. It gives you incentive to win because you always want to do that.
Who's leading these again? I hear Anthony Rizzo, but something tells me you have a few moves up your sleeve that you're just holding on to, like you said, till it gets warm.
Yeah, a little bit. Riz and it's everybody. It's even Davey and them are in here. So it's an awesome atmosphere, and we just got to keep winning so we can keep having parties.
Is there any, I guess, inner kind of challenging going on between you and Anthony? Because I find this really hard to believe that you're sitting here letting him be even with you in the steals category right now.
Like you said, it's the first month, and so we'll see. We'll see next month and a month after that. They're gonna. He can't write my coattail too long.
That was well put. Now, since we are live, I'm going to let you send it back to the guys.
We're live, so I'm sending it back to you guys, like Kelly said.
Coming up today, Jake Arrieta. In his 5th start of the season, he's been terrific so far. We'll take on the Brewers. Brewers and Cubs are next. It is an absolutely gorgeous Saturday afternoon, second day of May, as we bring you Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Big crowd in the house today as the Cubs host the Milwaukee Brewers. Hope your weekend is going well. Jim DeShays and Len Casper. The Cubs weekend off to a good start, a 1-0 winner yesterday. We talked so much, JD, about the unbalanced schedule. If you're going to make the playoffs, you got to beat the teams in your own division.
And 9 out of the 10 playoff teams last year managed to do that, so that's part of the formula, win within the division. The Cubs have not done that the last couple of years. Not in a big way, 58-94 combined the last 2 seasons, but off to a very good start here in 2015, 10-5 within the NL Central.
Jake Arrieta will take the ball today for the Cubs. Mike Fiers for the Brewers. You have guys who've gotten off to vastly different starts.
Yeah, obviously an advantage for the Cubs today. Jake Arrieta making his 5th start. Quality work in his first 4. We look at his numbers against the Central. 21 starts, 12-4, 2.35 ERA since becoming a Cub.
Mike Fiers, 4 starts, 0 quality outings so far, but he's had good success in this ballpark in his career.
Had a very nice run at the end of last year, 6-2 with a .184. There you see that stretch between June and September. And since hitting Giancarlo Stanton in the head with a pitch on September 11th of last year, I don't know if it's coincidental or not, but 0-6 with a .442 earned run average.
As we mentioned, just a beautiful day for Cubs baseball. The fans are ready. Brewers and Cubs are next.
Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. AT&T Uverse. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Back here at beautiful Wrigley Field as the Cubs try to improve to 4-1 on this homestand. Beat the Pirates 2 of 3. And won the opener yesterday over this Milwaukee ball club that continues to struggle. And now the Brewers Southwest starting lineup against right-hander Jake Arrieta. And they get some reinforcements today as Carlos Gomez comes off the disabled list. He'll be in the leadoff spot. Gene Segura will bat second. Ryan Braun is in right. Adam Lind actually has been their best offensive player. Didn't start against the lefty Lester yesterday. Davis in left. Herrera at second. Martin Maldonado continuing to get most of the starts behind the plate with Jonathan Lucroy out. Hector Gomez in for Aramis Ramirez, and the pitcher Fiers bats ninth.
Defense for the Cubs this afternoon. Chris Denorfia gets a start. He's out there in left. Fowler's in center. Jorge Soler is the right fielder this afternoon. Third to first will go Bryant Castro, Russell Rizzo. Miguel Montero is behind the plate. The Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Jake Arrieta, and off to an outstanding start here in 2015 after an outstanding 2014. 3-1 with a 2.03 earned run average for Big Jake.
A couple of changes on the umpiring crew today. Ryan Blackney was here yesterday. So was Eric Cooper, but he's now the crew chief. No Gary Cedarstrom. Joliet native Mark Carlson's at second, and Tom Woodring is over at third. And as we get started today, I want to give a shout out to a big group of fine folks from the Wounded Warrior Project. Here at the ballpark today, we got a chance to do a little meet and greet with them before the game. Great organization. And they could not have picked a nicer afternoon.
Chamber of Commerce Day here today, boy. It is perfect. These guys might even be feeling a little better about things.
Here comes Carlos Gomez.
From Milwaukee, the center fielder, number 27, Carlos Gomez.
His first game since April 15th when he strained his right hamstring running to first base in St. Louis. And activated earlier this morning. Arrieta as good as anybody in recent memory in this ballpark. A 154 over his last 15 Wrigley Field outings. And Addison Russell will make the catch. One pitch, one out.
Yeah, no surprise to see that from Gomez. He likes to attack that first pitch. Sometimes he does damage. If not, it's an easy start to the ball game, as it was here for Arrieta. One pitch, one quick out. Three degrees. It is beautiful.
Gene Segura. Dialing it up, 73, wind blowing straight out at just 5 miles an hour. Southwest. Foul tip or strike two.
Jake Arrieta attacking early here with strike one. He's done that 71% of the time so far this year. That's the third best rate in Major League Baseball.
Milwaukee held to just 4 hits in the ball game yesterday.
Yeah, 3 singles and a bunt single. No, they had a double late. Rogers had a double. Lester gave up 2 singles. Well, 3, one of them being a bunt. In case anybody really wants to write that down. There might be a quiz after the game. What kind of hits did John Lester give up yesterday?
Braun on deck. 1-2 the count on Segura.
Conviction. So much confidence in his stuff and his ability to command, and now that's a pitch you see a lot of guys cut off. They don't drive it in on the hands. Whoop.
I think that was supposed to be a slider.
Yeah, it was kind of
away from him.
Fell out of it a little bit. Body rushed forward, hand didn't catch up. A little cement mixer up around the chin. Better to throw it way up there than to hang it out over the middle of the plate.
Fastball is hit hard and deflected off the glove of the diving Russell. So Segura snaps an 0 for 12. There goes the no-hit bid. 2 batters in.
Russell has tremendous range. He's a superior athlete. Well, you know, Arrieta, he just does not give up much. The league is batting 184 against him. First time through the order, they're batting 118 against him.
Fans with what has become a very typical greeting for Ryan Braun. And he sends this one out into deep center, and it is gonna go a home run. That's his 4th homer in his last 3 games.
Aggressive with that fastball was Arrieta. First pitch heater, trying to go down and away, and this one is right down the middle. That's your Ford home run replay, number 5 for Ryan Braun, who continues to torment Cub pitching. .332 lifetime hitter against the Cubs. .351 here at Wrigley Field, the best mark of any active player.
Let me correct myself. 4th homer in 4 days for Ryan Braun. Number 235 in his career. He's closing in on Robin Yount for the all-time Brewers mark. Yount hit 251 in a Hall of Fame career. 1 strike on Adam Lind. Now 1-1. Snapped an 8-game hitting streak with his pinch hit ground out to end the ball game yesterday. Fastball misses away, 2-1.
And most of the home games so far for the Cubs, the weather's been cold, the wind's been blowing in. Different animal here today.
Yeah, that ball doesn't get out on any previous day here since we started the season. But a home run's a home run.
Yeah, and you wouldn't say it was a cheap home run.
No,
it's just that the conditions earlier in the year were knocking stuff down.
Well, what it tells you is the Cubs are going to have to hit some balls like that today. Ball 4.
It's falling behind Lynn. Arrieta opted not to give in. Start fresh with Chris Davis. A little out of sync with his mechanics right now. Montero wants to come out and just put a positive thought in his head and point it in the right direction.
Left fielder, number 18, Chris Davis.
Davis, the left fielder. .34 homers since July 23rd of 2013. That was when he hit his first in the big leagues. Puts him tied for 3rd among National League outfielders during that stretch. 1 ball, no strikes. It's 5 consecutive misses now for Arrieta.
Yeah, I think, Montero called that first pitch curveball. There's kind of a free swinging bunch here, these Brewers. They don't take a lot of walks. You may feel like they're kind of geared for that fastball. So he started curveball with Davis and came back with a cutter for strike 1. And the other piece of that is, too, sometimes when a pitcher's leaving balls up, not finishing, it's good to try to throw that curveball because you really have to work hard to get on top of that pitch. Sometimes throwing a couple breaking balls will help you with your release point with the fastball.
Just getting started, Ryan Braun with a 2-run homer after Segura's single. Lind then walked. And Davis fouls upstairs. A great barehanded catch by a fan just walking down the aisle. Got his food in one hand and a baseball in the other. That's how you do it.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
Still 2-2. Sixth career start for Arrieta against Milwaukee. 2.59 ERA, including basically a 2 in 2 previous starts here. Pitch number 20 is a swing and a foul tip for strike 3, 2 outs.
Davis not considering cutting down that swing with 2 strikes. Big aggressive hack pulled off the cutter. First strikeout of the day for Arrieta. Brewer club 5-18. They've scored 3 runs or fewer in 15 of their games so far. 2 runs or fewer in 13 games. Pitching hasn't been very good either, so explains their rugged start.
Elian Herrera, switch hitter. It starts at 6 different defensive positions last year, and he came up on April 21st to take Scooter Jeanette's spot on the roster when Jeanette went on the DL. Cut his hand in the shower in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they're obviously not playing well, but they've had some funky stuff. LaCroix broke a toe. Jeanette cuts his hand in the shower. Ramos Ramirez was in the lineup yesterday. Initially was scratched They're playing short.
Short lead by Lind. 2 strikes on the batter Herrera. Here it is. Lifted to left. Denorfia over near the line. He'll keep on running into the Cubs dugout. 2-run homer, Ryan Braun. Cubs coming up. Depot will donate $100 to Make-A-Wish, Illinois. Cubs Southwest starting lineup. They've won 5 of their last 6. Yeah, Soler in the leadoff spot. Fowler will follow. Rizzo, Bryant, Montero, Castro off to a good start, 333. Chris Denorfia getting the nod in left. Arrieta the pitcher, and the kid Addison Russell, who homered yesterday.
Brewers a solid game defensively yesterday, especially in the outfield. A little different look today as Carlos Gomez returns. Gerardo Parra to the bench. Braun and Davis on either side of him. Gomez, Segura, Herrera, Lind on the infield. Maldonado is taking over the chores as the everyday catcher with Jonathan Lucroy on the DL, and Mike Fiers is the Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher for the Brewers. He's a guy who likes to work up in the strike zone with a 4-seam fastball. He'll cut it, he's got a curve, and a change, and he's been hit hard. 29 hits in 18 2/3, a .358 batting average against.
Had everything working in this ballpark on August 14th of last year. Fiers went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 14 Cubs.
Going to lay off that high fastball, force him down in the zone. He's got a little riding action. He's not a hard thrower. Average velocity around 89, 90, so below major league average.
Soler had a couple of hits yesterday, but largely has been scuffling 4 for his last 30. He has a major league high 35 strikeouts. So Joe just trying to get him out of his comfort zone a little bit today. Three and two.
Yeah, pretty good take there on a borderline pitch. A little cutter just below the knees.
Ground foul past third.
That start Fiers had here at Wrigley last year was just his second start of the season. He was with the Brewers for 2 different stints. He came up in June and worked out of the bullpen a handful of times, and returned to the big leagues in August as part of their rotation. Made 10 starts and Pitched really well in those 10 ball games. Had an ERA in the low 2s.
Way inside and ball 4.
That's a leadoff man right there. Taking some pitches, working a walk.
Here comes Dexter Fowler, our pregame guest. 7-game hitting streak. In the first 4 games of this homestand, he's been on base 10 times. Gomez hit on the grass at third. Here's the pitch. It's outside, ball 1. Fiers is from South Florida, born in Hollywood, went to Deerfield Beach High School, and then Nova Southeastern University, which is located in Fort Lauderdale.
J.D. Martinez, currently with the Tigers, was a Nova guy.
Those are all beach communities. One and one. '40th career start, 55th major league appearance for Fiers.
Ooh. What was that one? Let's look at our Menards pitch tracks.
Wow. Okay.
Like Fiers, you've been squeezed.
Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Yeah, so Fiers, you know, he's more of a fly ball pitcher than a ground ball pitcher. Joe Madden likes to start base runners to stay out of double plays, try to get people in motion. Probably less inclined to do so with Fiers on the mound because he doesn't get a lot of ground balls, and he does get a fair number of swings and misses. He's got a good change up there. He'll also get swings and misses at that elevated fastball. Not to say that the running game is completely out of play here this afternoon, but you know, a little less likely with Fiers out there than maybe some others. And although here's 3-2, this could be a go situation for Soler.
Not running, swing and a miss on the changeup. Throw to first, and a good throw may have gotten him, but Lind was just trying to keep it out of right field.
A lot of deception in that delivery of Fiers. You see the way he rocks his shoulders back, kind of throws that lead elbow up and comes over the top. And boy, hitter sees fastball. That's a real good changeup.
Has not fooled Anthony Rizzo very often. Rizzo 5 for 7 with a home run versus Fiers. He's been on Fiers.
It's all over Fiers. Fiers, he had a weird game last time out against St. Louis. He only lasted 4 innings. Allowed 9 hits, 2 runs, only 1 earned. I believe he gave up a home run, so that's a lot of traffic, not a lot of damage. The game the Brewers won, he got a no decision.
His pitch counts have been right around 90, and he has yet to complete 6 innings.
Yeah, and that's, when you don't sink it, you elevate the fastball, you get a lot of foul balls, you work a lot of deep counts. That's why he had to come out of that game here at Wrigley last year. Despite the 14 strikeouts, he only lasted 6 innings.
2-0 on Rizzo. Make it 3-0. Bryant on deck.
Red light, red light, red light, green light. Remember that game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to believe on a day like this, just about everybody has a green light. 3-0. Wind blowing out. Did not get a pitch to his liking. So 2 walks and a strikeout. Nobody's put a ball in play yet. The Cubs with 2 on for Chris Bryant. Strike 1 on Bryant. Make it 0-2. Elias reporting the Cubs with this young infield. Everybody at 25 or younger. Only the 3rd time since 1976 the Cubs have had that situation. It did happen once last year. Rizzo, Alcantara, Castro, Olt. So we've got to go back to 76. Lecoq, Trio, Rosello, and Madlock. The Cubs infield this young. Strike 3 called. We're out number 2, and Fiers hasn't needed anybody other than his catchers so far this inning.
More giddy up on this fastball at 92 miles an hour. A good chunk of the plate. Right. We thought he was going to get something with a wrinkle in it.
Here's Montero. 6 hits his last 3 games, including 3 hits on Wednesday against the Pirates. So his average climbing right now 261. Close at second. Soler just got his hand in ahead of the throw.
Quick, accurate throw from Fiers. Close, but he beat it. Because of that delivery, I would guess, and you know the numbers this year don't bear it out. Fiers have been pretty hittable. But the number I talked about with Arrieta, that first time through the batting order, 118. Jake last year yielded a 164 batting average in those situations. It's 3rd best, and Fiers was right up there near the top as well. I think this delivery, this little funky over the top delivery he has, takes a while for hitters to kind of lock in on him.
It doesn't seem to favor a side, you know, that righties are better or lefties are better. Pretty evenly split. Chris Denorfia in the lineup in left today. One of the reasons Joe said just not facing a lot of left-handed starters here coming up, so he wanted to get Denorfia some at bats. One and 2. It'll be a high pitch inning for Fiers. 24 and counting. Arrieta needed 23 on the top of this first inning. Swing and a miss. Or strike 3. Walk, strikeout, walk, strikeout, strikeout. 2-0. Last night, the Hawks pulled it out. Hockey's a funky sport. You can have the best period ever, and then the next period's the opposite. But they started great, finished great. The middle was a little shaky.
Very entertaining game.
See if Arrieta can settle in. Bottom three in the Milwaukee order, starting with Martin Maldonado, and a cut and a miss on a fastball. The big news last night in baseball, A-Rod hit number 660. It tied him with Willie Mays for 4th on the all-time list. It was a pinch hit home run on a 3-0 offering that ended up being a game winner. Line shot to the monster seats. First career pinch hit home run.
Yeah, and now that the dispute is on about this bonus he's supposed to receive,
they still have not, referred to it in the game notes. Upcoming milestones.
Brian Cashman says they're not going to pay. They're supposed to pay him $6 million for each of these milestone home runs that he could get to, passing Mays and Ruth and Aaron and Bonds. The Yankees' point is that they don't owe him that money now because of the year he missed due to the suspension. Voids that piece of the contract.
It's going to drop, perfectly placed by Maldonado as he serves it into center for a leadoff single. Yeah, the idea was that it would be this big marketing coup for the team, and not turning out to be that.
Statement here from Brian Cashman: we have the right but not the obligation to do something, and that's it. No dispute from our perspective.
It's an interesting scenario there, isn't it? Guy in your own team trying to help you win. You've got this big financial dispute, but only in New York, I guess. One strike to Hector Gomez. Not sure if we'll see Aramis Ramirez this weekend or not. Sounded like he wanted to go yesterday, but I didn't want to take any chances with a hamstring. 0-2. After the game yesterday, Ryan Braun quoted saying, "It's going to get better." As you said, they're not scoring runs, swinging a miss, strike 3. They're giving up way too many runs. And I don't think anybody expects this team to lose 130 ball games, but it has been a jaw-droppingly bad start.
Yeah, and so it's a fairly safe statement to make. It's going to get better because it really can't get worse. Right. The question is, will it ever get good? And stories out now that the Brewers have kind of let it be known to other clubs that they're willing to move some of their pieces.
Myers stabs at it and missed it. Yankees and Red Sox are playing today at Fenway, and they're already in the 5th inning. It's 1-1. Eovaldi and Miley, the pitching matchup. Arrieta is going to take the play at first, covered by Russell. That's 1-4 on the sacrifice. Hey, Cub fans, let's go. Great weather expected for tomorrow's exciting series finale against these Brewers at 1:20. Good seats are still available. Get your tickets at Cubs.com.
Jason Hamill pitches tomorrow, coming off a brilliant outing last time out. Jimmy Nelson will pitch from Milwaukee.
Gomez swung at the first pitch of the ball game and popped the second. He's a dynamic player. His career has really flourished in a Brewers uniform.
Five-tool guy. 20-plus home runs. Typical year now. Still 30 bags for you. Very good defender.
Flared into shallow right. Oh, a terrible collision. Rizzo and Russell. The Brewers will get a run. And right now, the #1 concern is the health of those two guys.
Boy, great effort by both Anthony and Addison. That was scary.
It really was. The last guy you want to collide with is Anthony Rizzo. Now that I think about it, Russell's put together 2, and
okay, I thought they went. Man. I thought they went head to head.
Russell worried about his neck a little bit and shoulder on that landing.
And you gotta love both guys selling out, trying to make a play there.
I think the biggest concern here is for Russell. He landed very awkwardly.
Looks like he's okay. The ball's just not in the air long enough for either guy to feel comfortable that they're in position to haul it in. So nobody's going to call anybody off on a ball like that. It's both players selling out, trying to make a play. Well, you talk about a cheap run. How about the 2 hits in this inning?
How about the grass stains on the hat? So 3-0 the score. And Gomez takes off. And he's going to make it. His first of the year and his second try.
Gomez, Segura at the top of the order. Guys capable of stealing bases for the Brewers. This club has not been running. They've been playing mostly from behind. And of course, Gomez just coming off a stint on the disabled list. Looks like he's 100%.
One and one. Foul tip, strike 2. How much could the grass stained hat of Addison Russell go for on eBay right now? That hat will live on in Cubs lore.
You talk about a player liking to get his uniform dirty.
Yeah. A deep sigh of relief. Gomez to third. Safe. Milwaukee had 4 steals combined total going into this game, and 2 already by Gomez.
Yeah, already in scoring position with 2 outs, so they're not paying a whole lot of attention to him. That's a high risk, low reward play. I mean, there is some advantage to being at third base as opposed to second, but cannot afford to be thrown out there.
They were 5 for 9 going into today. Castro can't get it. 4-0 as Gomez scores.
like Starlin was going to be able to make a play on this ball. It's not a good pitch. It's a cutter that backed up on Arrieta. A little out of sync as he approached that ground ball.
So Segura with an RBI single.
The right fielder, Ryan Braun.
I guess stealing third base did pay off there, because if Gomez is on second, Castro probably does everything he can to at least knock that ball down. So Arrieta had gone 15 consecutive starts in this ballpark, allowing 3 earned runs or less.
And the streak
is done.
Has ended. And there you go. It was this Brewers ball club with some different pieces a couple of years ago. Segura on the move. He is safe. They've stolen 3 in the inning.
Arrieta is not quick to home plate. Montero actually gets off a good strong throw here. That's a good call. He was in ahead of the tag. The lead Segura's got. It's almost like the Brewers that have had such a hard time scoring runs, trying to take out their frustration here by just go.
And for all the talk about John Lester's issues, actually, Arrieta struggles more than Lester does in kind of limiting the running game. Now, the good news for Jake is that he hasn't allowed a ton of base runners the last couple of years. Teams were 24 out of 29 last year, and 6 for 6 so far this year.
Yeah, and that's, not uncommon for a right-handed power pitcher. These guys usually don't want to sacrifice anything in terms of their stuff by trying to be quick to home plate.
Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Braun to deep left. DeNorfia on the warning track makes the catch. Braun bidding for his second homer of the day. They get a couple of runs. 4-0. on Comcast Sportsnet. Brought to you by Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Visit Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Well, this is the kind of day you got to slug. Wind blowing out. Temps in the mid-70s, and you're trailing 4-0 with a long way to go. Don't have to get it all back here in one at bat or one inning. And a strike called on Castro. Leads all major league shortstops with 29 hits. And 736 since 2011, leading the way as well. Popped him up. And the wind's going to push everything on that side of the field back toward fair territory. Yeah, you got to kind of turn your mind around, I think, defensively on a day like this. Wind blowing in, stuff's going to end up out of play. When it's blowing out,
stay with it.
Yep. And run it out if you're a batter. You never know. Denorfia getting just his third start of the year. One ball, one strike. Grounded on the ground, foul.
She's looking up Chris Denorfia's career OPS on her smartphone there. An engaged fan.
I was going to say Gorman Thomas in the house. Swing and a miss, strike three.
Check out the Legend Suite located on the Nuveen Investment Suite level. Watch the game with Cubs alum and listen to classic baseball stories. With a luxury food and beverage package and a unique gift for each guest, the Legend Suite is the most exclusive way to watch a Cubs game. For more information, visit cubs.com/suites. So here goes Fires again, up to his old tricks from his start here last year. 4 punch-outs already.
Arrieta homered in spring training. He's never done it in the regular season. He's 0 for 10 this year with 6 punch outs. He's trying to stay alive in this at bat, but he cannot. 2 in the books. All Brewers early, 4-0. come on.
Yeah, he's got Gorman Thomas and a little Bernie the Brewer in there.
Yeah. Would you say the guy on the right looks like a Bambi's Bomber or a Harvey's Wallbanger?
I think he could play for both those clubs.
I think you're right. Underway in the third. Adam Lind, acquired from the Blue Jays in the offseason. This is his first National League action here in 2015. He's a Midwesterner. He's from Anderson, Indiana. Went to the University of South Alabama. South Alabama, very good baseball school. Luis Gonzalez, John Lieber, Juan Pierre, Marlon Anderson. Long list of big leaguers to come out of South Alabama. Davis.
Arrieta got that ground ball off the bat of Lynn with a good sinker down at 94 miles an hour. Starts Davis down in the zone with a sinker as well. The pitch hasn't been there for him yet this afternoon. Could be the beginnings of a bit of a turnaround for him, although the 2 runs they got last inning were somewhat fluky. Two bloop hits. And then a base hit by Segura that Castro probably should have made a play on.
Did you say blue pits or bloop hits? Okay, gotcha. That's what I thought. Just clarifying.
They do all kind of run together.
Still 2 strikes to Davis. Huge crowd today. And why not? Cubs off to a hot start. Gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Wrigley Field. Just haven't had much to cheer about here in the early going.
Except for a couple of good plays by the fans.
Yeah. Another good catch. Although he needed both hands to make that grab. I've got him as a solid second.
And the fan of the game?
Yeah. A roller to Castro at short. And 2 outs. Cubs destinations travel packages include great tickets, hotel accommodations, tours of the ballpark, Cubs swag, and a private meet and greet with a player. This season includes road trips to Washington, D.C. and Milwaukee, as well as here at Wrigley Field. For more information, visit Cubs.com/travel. Herrera 0 for 1. Okay, so we had this big DH discussion earlier on this homestand. I think the one city where you could really test what fans ultimately want would be Milwaukee, because it was an American League city. Well, it was a National League city when the Braves were there, but American League from 1970 to 97, right? And National League 98 to current. Chicago would work because you've got American League, National League fans. New York. But I'm curious if Brewer fans identify more with the National League or the American League. I'm going to guess NL.
It probably depends on the age of the fan, too.
Right.
Fans came of age when the Brewers were a pretty good club there. And those clubs you referenced earlier, Harvey's Wallbangers.
Off the plate inside. Sets up a 2-2. And we'll repeat.
One of their all-time favorites, Paul Molitor, right? Had all those at-bats as a designated hitter, so there'd be, you know, that to consider if you're a Brewer fan and you were weighing in. I don't know if that would affect your point of view, what you think the game should look like going forward. Commissioner is on record, the new commissioner, Rob Manfred, he's on record as saying he likes it just the way it is.
Yep. Arrieta trying to settle in here. A 1-2-3 third inning. Cubs trail 4-0.
Game show come to life as fans test their sports trivia knowledge with a chance to win big, premiering at 7 on Comcast Sports Net.
Addison Russell thankfully is okay after colliding with his infield mate Anthony Rizzo on defense. Getting off the first home run of his career and a game winner yesterday. Love the note. First Cubs 1-0 win, with that one coming on a first major league homer since Phil Cavarretta in 1934.
There it is, off Willie Peralta.
Makes the play.
So 9 batters, 2 balls put in play. 5 punch outs, a couple of walks, infield pop, and a ground out.
The foul ball has been a storyline here early on. That fan deciding the ball was more important than the food, even if the food ended up all over the ball.
And everybody sitting around you.
Mario chiming in on Twitter. Astros fans also would be an interesting group to ask, even though they haven't been in the American League for very long. They continue to win. The Astros are 16-7 and have won 8 in a row.
They're a little frustrated. He had a pitch there. Thought he should have done a little something with.
Not where the catcher Maldonado wanted it. He set up his glove high in the zone. And the pitch ended up below. But if you're going to miss, that's probably a good spot.
Yeah, and I think for Fiers, he's one of those guys. He can miss down around the knees and he can miss up around the letters. It's that in between where he gets in trouble.
Muscled in the left, but it holds up for Davis. Sometimes Jorge's too strong. A lesser hitter probably moves that one over the shortstop and in front of the left fielder. That one carried all the way out to Davis.
Wouldn't that be something if baseball was like golf and you could go up there, take a little less club, take a little bat made out of inferior material and just dump one in front of the outfielders?
Fowler cracked his bat there. Fiers loves pitching in this ballpark. Off to a very slow start this year, but he's been on his game early.
At the Cardinals, coverage begins at 6:30 with Cubs pregame live, presented by Fields Auto, only on CSN Chicago. Front running Cardinals 16-6. They've won 4 in a row.
You forgot April, our second look. We played him twice to start the year. Remember that?
Oh yeah, we did.
First look in St. Louis.
First look in St. Louis. We didn't work the first game.
No. The second game got postponed, and then the Cubs shut them out 2-0.
That's right.
Yep. It's coming back to you now.
It's all becoming clear to me now.
Looks like Travis Wood, Carlos Martinez on Monday.
It's hardly a look. 2 games. We're going to get a good look this time. 4 games.
Our first good look.
First good look. Ooh. I got to do a little double take. So Ryan Blackney's the home plate umpire. He's a rookie. Assigned to work at the Pacific Coast League, so he's subbing here. This may be his first big league home plate assignment. I'm not sure.
That looks like a group. All wearing the same T-shirt. Cubs without a hit through 3. Milwaukee with 5 hits and 4 runs.
Yeah, so there's the irony, right? Before this ball game, if we were to say, hey, somebody's going to flirt with a no-hitter today, it's Jake Arrieta. He flirts with a no-hitter all the time, seemingly. Mike Fiers has yielded a .358 batting average against. Wager on baseball. Gerald Risk.
Another bloop single.
Second one of those for Maldonado. So he's got he's clubbing down.
Well, I was going to say, I guess the equivalent of that is guys do use different size bats. Usually the little guys use smaller bats. You're saying like a guy.
He's just opting not to use the barrel.
Yeah, right.
Just that ball's in on his hands both times. And when you work up in the zone, that's a byproduct of it.
Hector Gomez. Fly to left. Denorfi has got it.
When you induce weak contact and you're sinking the ball, keeping it down around the knees, it's typically an easy ground ball. When it's up in the zone, you get weak contact that drops in for base hits.
Curveball strike on Fiers, who laid down a sac bunt in the second. Here's a fun
fact,
thought process, not a fact, question. Could we do a study, or somebody do a study, and compare 2 pitchers? One, for the sake of discussion, they make 33 starts. One pitcher goes 0 on the year. And now they've got Maldonado caught up between first and second. And he's tagged out by Castro. Two 6-4-6.
See, he's getting a huge secondary lead there, and that's a byproduct of how aggressively the Cubs defend the bunt. You saw Chris Bryant coming in from third base. So Maldonado, not a speedy guy. He knows he has to get a good jump when that bunt is put down. The bad news for him was Fiers didn't make contact with it, and he was hung out to dry.
Strike 3 call. I will ask my hypothetical when we come back. How's that? 4-0. Cubs still looking for their first hit. So my hypothetical.
Yes.
I have to figure out how to phrase it. Would you rather have a pitcher go hitless for a season but get every sac bunt down successfully?
Yes.
Or have a guy get 0 sac bunts down successfully and pick an arbitrary number? I guess what would the batting average or on base
be better than league average or a better
take?
I would say get the bunts down.
So you take a guy who goes 0 for 40, but every sac bunt he advances a runner. Yeah. Because that's the old adage. I don't care what my pitcher does, just get the bunts down.
Right.
Nobody does get all of them down.
That's a great question there. What is the success rate when a pitcher is asked to sacrifice? Is it 50%? Is it?
No way.
I don't think so, huh?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'd say maybe 1 out of 3 on the high end. I don't know, 30, 33%.
Yeah, think about all those times where it was on initially and then taken off.
Rizzo hammers it foul. Yeah, Brandon Hyde's got to really pay attention, as he always does, but when Rizzo's batting,
yeah,
he's in harm's way.
Play a step deeper down there.
Anthony walked in the first inning. 2 base runners for the Cubs, both on walks. 2-2. Strike 3 looking.
And a late decision there by Blackney. Rizzo thought it was low. Fire's kind of fooling hitters today with his fastball. In some of these counts, they're looking for an off speed. They're looking changeup, and he's coming with fastball. That one was down below the knee, so he caught a break there. It's might have been a little bit better than the previous one.
Count, by the way, 1-1. There you go. Here it comes. It's bounced foul. Bryant strikes out. Fires now is 7 punch outs. If you missed that game last year in which he punched out 14 in 6 innings, it looked a lot like today.
Yeah, changing the eye level. Fastball down around the knees, occasional curveball, and up the ladder he goes.
Up by Herrera. Fires no hitting the Cubs through 4 today with 7 strikeouts. It's 4-0 Milwaukee. Charities and the Wood Family Foundation at the inaugural Battle of the Bats Charity Home Run Derby. Thursday, June 18th. Join Kerry Wood and Cubs alums as you swing for the fences here at Wrigley Field. Registration and information available at Cubs.com/Derby. And on Derby Day, that's a great promotion.
I hope you didn't bet on International Star.
I did not. I didn't bet on anybody.
Scratched.
Okay. Lower body injury? Or?
Day to day with a bad hoof.
Brewers happy to get Carlos Gomez back in their lineup. RBI single in the second, 2 stolen bases and a run. I referenced the Cardinals earlier. We're going to be in St. Louis for 4 straight next week. They
Our
have
second look at them.
Our second look at them, but our first good look. They have taken full advantage of what would be considered a pretty soft early schedule based on the opponent's records. 16-6 going into their game today against the Pirates, and they trail 1-0 in the 5th inning. Fly ball well hit out into deep right center. Fowler tracking, and he hauls it in right in front of the barrier.
Pretty well struck by Gomez. Tracked and put away by Fowler. Important to keep that guy off the bases.
That's a cool looking glove. Like the laces. Segura, 2 hits. RBI, run scored, stole a base. Number 5 on the year. Coming off a very trying 2014. And forget about the struggles on the field. His 9-month-old son passed away. Just a horrible personal tragedy. 0-2 the count. Early last season, he got hit just below the eye. Swing by Ryan Braun, a practice swing in the dugout. He was fortunate he didn't break any bones. It was 2 games and 4 starts. And I don't think you and I had ever seen that before.
No, it was in the dugout at Miller Park. And Braun was taking practice swings with a weighted bat in the dugout. Segura just came walking along, maybe to grab a helmet or something. Bang.
It'll be a tough play for Bryant. He's got a bare hand, and he had no chance. Even if he picks it cleanly, Segura was maybe 2 steps from the bag when he got his hand on it. So he's 3 for 3.
The soft hit theme continuing here. 3 bloopers. Squirter through the infield, and now a little slow roller for a base hit. Segura with his 5th steal of the season when he was on in the 2nd.
Braun homered, 2-run shot in the 1st, and nearly did it again in the 2nd. As he flied to the warning track and left. Braun hoping that the procedure he had on his chronic right thumb following last year will make him a lot more comfortable at the plate. Said he could not use the top hand very much in the swing because of the nerve issue that had bothered him for a couple of seasons. Time for a T-Mobile game changer. And he made Arrieta pay for that pitch that was elevated into the juniper bushes in center for his 5th home run. 4 of them have come this week.
Ron at his peak was a guy you count on to hit 30, 35 home runs, hit 41 home runs in 2012. Of course, the PED suspension came down in 2013. He only played 61 ball games that year. Last year, 530 at bats. He hit 19 home runs.
You see Chris Johnson is going to miss some time. Got a fractured hand. He has no idea how it happened. The quote. This is beautiful.
That doesn't surprise me. I know, CJ.
And you know, Chris, it's just something old. I don't know when it happened. I'm just a tough dude.
He had asked for a check. They did. Said no swing. It looked to me like Ron maybe offered at that pitch. Yeah, that's weird. A broken hand, doesn't know how it happened.
I guess he aggravated it recently. Carlos Quentin announced his retirement. Chronic knee problems. When he was healthy, he was really good, but he just could not stay on the field. Only 32 years old. And he was at AAA in the Mariners organization. Segura takes off. Braun fouls. I think Carlos will have a lot of options. He went to Stanford. Real smart guy. And we'll move on to the next chapter as he wants to spend more time with his family.
Well, it's still young enough that he may, down the road reconsider and try to get back into the game as a player. We've seen a number of guys do that. Sometimes players like to try on retirement, walk away from the game and just see how it suits them.
Segura with a big lead and got a great jump.
Yeah.
And Braun fouled again.
Twitching over there, trying to anticipate first move by Arrieta. That's one where Rizzo or somebody should be yelling, step off. Make Segura reset. You see him, he's kind of dancing. Yeah, I think some guys should announce their retirement, out of the game for a couple months, and they want back in, start working out again, try to make it back. Other guys are like, man, why didn't I do this 3 years ago?
And then others, we're going to give a lot of examples. I think Derek Lee would be one. I don't think he's ever announced his retirement. He just, just kind of,
just stopped playing. Well, Bernie Williams just announced his retirement the other day.
So he could retire his number. Called strike 3 on the curveball. Came back over the inside part of the plate. So Arrieta wins this battle. Hard pitch to get called for a strike.
Yeah. Cradled nicely by Montero. Blackney had a good look at it. And, umpires sometimes are like hitters. You see hitters will chase a ball because they see it well, and umpires sometimes will call a strike because they see the pitch really well, even if the pitch is off the plate. Changeup.
Yeah, I would love for somebody to write a book or make a movie about. It doesn't have to be just baseball, but I think baseball's better than the other sports because you can play longer at an older age. But those decisions that go into whether or not you want to keep playing or not. Some guys, you're going to have to rip their uniform off. Julio Franco, I think, is still playing, right? Vinny Minoso played until he was 85. Yeah. Ricky Henderson. Jamie Moyer, and then other guys like Carlos Quentin saying, I can't deal with the knee thing anymore. I'm not going to play at AAA. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and when you're not having success, very few guys walk away from their game when they can still play at a pretty high level. It's usually performance or injury knocks you out of the game.
Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 6 for Arrieta. On a glorious Saturday afternoon, Cubs trying to get on the hit board, trailing 4-0. Fires. The confines have been a little too friendly to this Brewers right-hander. His 3rd career start in this ballpark. Foul pop back out of play.
Yeah, on a day that we thought it might be very advantageous for the Cubs to have this fly ball pitcher on the mound who's been in complete control. Cubs really haven't squared up any balls at all yet. Strikeouts, pop-ups, a couple ground outs.
Jason Mott getting loose in the Cubs bullpen. Fires, spins, and throws, and that one came all apart mechanically. 1-2. Cut and a miss, strike 3. Our Xfinity high-speed action. Mike Fiers off to a pretty dismal start. 4 outings, no quality starts, hadn't completed 6 innings. Totally different story today.
Yeah, and you know, he's had command of all of his pitches. That elevated fastball is a primary weapon, but that little cutter, the changeup, all working nicely for him here today. Cub hitters are twisted in knots. There's a little get-over curveball. So everything's in play if you're a Cub hitter today. You have to consider every pitch with fire. Sometimes you can say, he doesn't have command of his curveball. I don't have to worry about that.
One and one on Denorfia. Make it 2-1 on Chris. Arrieta is on deck. Joe had Mott up just in case the Cubs started a rally here, trying to get back into this game. Arrieta at 90 pitches made through 5 innings. There's a start. The Cubs have their first hit as Denorfia with a solid single here with 1 out. And Arrieta will be called back to the dugout, I believe.
Well, if you had Denorfia and they break up the no-hitter pool, you're a winner. And see, that's one of the rare fastballs he's thrown in the happy zone. He's been down below the knees. He's been up above the hands. One much easier to get to, and a good swing by Denorfia.
Number 5, Wellington Castillo.
So the first non-quality start for Arrieta this season, as he's lifted for pinch hitter Wellington Castillo. In fact, this snaps a string of 8 straight quality starts for Arrieta dating back to early September of last year. Rick Kranitz going over the scouting report on Castillo.
The numbers don't support it, but Arrieta actually threw the ball pretty well after that first inning. Some cheap hits in the second. Not a whole lot after that. But down 4, Cubs looking for a little offense.
Been tough to find Castillo playing time as the third catcher, but he's made himself more valuable by going 2 for 6 with a walk, a home run, and 3 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, and some loud outs too in that role, and that's why Kranitz went out to the mound. He likes to jump on that first pitch fastball when he comes off the bench. And they started him with a breaker.
Things can change in a hurry on a day like this weather-wise. Warm, wind blowing out. With a couple of base runners and 1 big swing, and you're back in it. Really paying attention to Denorfia.
4-run lead here. 2-0 count on Castillo. You would think his attention would be directed more towards home plate. But Cubs like to run in all kinds of situations. The Cardinals are being no-hit today, as a matter of fact. Francisco Liriano, 5 no-hit innings in St. Louis. It's a 1-0 Pirate lead.
He's walked 2, struck out 2. Pitch count low. 60 through 5.
It's odd for him. He's already got 1 no-hitter on his resume.
Another good catch by a fan. Front row of the upper deck that time.
Fan's having a big day. I've never seen anything like it.
Two fouled back.
See, there's the deception right there. You see a 3-2, 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Appeared to be right there, but he's a little bit behind it. And that's center cut.
You're right. He really tucks that ball behind his backside. Seems to hide it well. Strike 3 call.
Painted with a changeup. Well, let's see if this one catches the corner. It's a heck of a pitch. Yeah, bottom of the knees.
See Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo maybe starring in a auto repair shop. If you're in a collision like I was, call 1-800. Fortunately, they're both all right. It was a very scary moment. Yeah, I thought they banged heads, which fortunately they didn't. Rizzo landed pretty normally. Russell did not. One and two.
Looks good, looks good. Wants to take a bite out of it. Tries not to. Takes the bite anyway. And back down. Up, down, in and out. That's been the game plan here for Fiers today. There are the final numbers on Arrieta. 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned. Walked 1, struck out 6.
Base hit left center. Couple of singles here in the 5th inning. Able to bring up Soler for the 3rd time. He's walked and flied out.
Down towards the end of the bat, but Russell gets enough of it. And this is exactly the scenario you were talking about. Coming back on a day like today, a little traffic and get somebody up there who's capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark. That would be ironic because Joe Madden put Soler in the leadoff spot today because he feels like he's been trying to do a little too much. Over swinging, chasing some bad balls.
See where this got Maldonado. Right off the knee.
Pitching coaches sometimes will use the comparison to the mechanics of a pitcher, comparing him to either a Ferris wheel or a merry-go-round with the shoulder rotation. And Fiers is definitely a Ferris wheel.
That's a good breaking ball there. As he gets Soler, the Cubs strand 2, 4-0. Here comes Jason Mott.
Wow. I feel like I'm going to have to cook a steak after that. Well, Mott has got Davis, Herrera, Maldonado here, top half of the 6th, 11th appearance. He's pitched to a 4.50 ERA. Hard stuff, fastballs and cutters from Mott, mid to upper 90s with that heater.
Chris Davis, ball 1.
It'd be no for Liriano. Cardinals got a couple of knocks. It's still a 1-0 ball game.
One ball, one strike. We've gone to the bottom of the 8th in Boston, 3-2 Yankees in that one.
Who would you take in the first no-hitter of the year pool?
Well, Arrieta's always top of mind. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
How about you?
I don't know. I was thinking about this Harvey cat for the Mets, Matt Harvey.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The injury, history, whether they would.
He's already got a complete game.
Yeah. Is it 5-0 now? I think he got the win yesterday, didn't he?
5-0 with a 241.
He did not get my vote for pitcher of the month, though.
Same here. Who'd you vote for?
I think I voted for Garrett Cole.
I think I did too.
Player?
Adrian Gonzalez.
Yeah, me too.
And I had to go with Alex Guerrero for rookie of the month. I think 5 home runs and 26 at bats, something like that.
Yeah, I went with the other kid,
John Peterson.
Yeah,
he's played more. I strongly considered Chris Bryant, but the Dodgers have just gotten off to such a hot start offensively. They're slugging .487 as a team, getting on base at a .345 clip. How you feeling if you're Scott Van Slyke? You're hitting .414, but can't find a place for him to play.
Yeah, he can hit.
And ball 4.
The Cubs baseball summer camps presented by ATI Physical Therapy are back. Give your kids an unforgettable baseball experience this summer. First camp kicks off in Lake Forest, June 22nd. Sign up at Cubs.com/camps.
In some ways, the Dodgers are kind of a test in terms of the idea of an all-star roster. Here's what I mean by that. They're just spending a ton of money, but are you better off having 14 position players who all are starting players and 4 or 5 of them have to sit out most of the time, or having guys who are bench players? Andre Ethier probably not thrilled to be a part of this outfield mix. I mentioned Van Slyke. Matt Kemp ended up getting traded because they had too many guys for 3 spots. There goes the runner Davis, and it's foul.
And I think it's if those veteran guys or those backup guys embrace the role, and still, even if they're not happy, as long as they play well when called upon. And that's the whole thing that Joe Madden talks about when you're trying to put a team together. It's you got to have guys that buy in. He talks about the different stages of a player's career. When he first gets to the big leagues, he just wants to be a big leaguer. Then he wants to establish himself in the big leagues, wants to make some money. And then when you get to that final phase where it's all about winning, you've had some success, you've settled in, you're an experienced player. And the goal is to try to get young players to adopt that mentality earlier in their career, and veteran players who are on the downside of their career to not become bitter old guys because they're not playing every day. Usually, if you're in a winning environment, it takes care of that. If you're doing enough winning and guys are getting enough playing time to feel like they're contributing.
How about how Castillo has handled his demotion? He went from the #1 to the #3 on the depth chart.
Right, and you know, if in his heart of hearts he hopes to get traded and become, you know, an everyday or a primary catcher somewhere else, it's not going to help his cause if he goes on record of being bitter and I'm not happy. Then other clubs are going to, well, maybe this guy's got a personality issue that we don't really want to bring into our clubhouse. But he's handled it perfectly.
Yeah, the ultimate answer to all your problems as a big league player is produce. You'll either get more playing time where you are, or you'll get moved to a situation where you'll get to play more.
So it's interesting that Mott's in this game because he becomes a good example of the merry-go-round, the carousel. He doesn't have that shoulder rotation up and down like Fires does. He's more of a side-to-side guy.
Well, they're battling him hard here. 98 that time on the fastball.
Kind of a short arm delivery, works underneath the ball, throws a lot of fastballs up in the zone.
Cholula hot sauce radar reading at 98. Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Fastball's got a little running action. Maldonado with a couple of soft hits today.
The 7th in St. Louis, 1-1. John Lackey out of the game. 6 innings, 1 run allowed. Liriano still in for the Pirates.
Cardinals
just off the corner.
Won in extras last night, 2-1 in 10 innings. Good try at times today. That's been a strike.
Twins leading the White Sox 5-3. Bottom of the 6th. White Sox have lost 3 in a row. They've had a strange week, to say the least. They were in Baltimore, a couple of games postponed, got blown out in the no fan game on Wednesday. And they dropped the first 2 in that Twins series. High pop fly to left. It's Denorfia for the second out.
You know what happened on this date in 1876?
That would have been the first year of the National League. The first NL game played in Chicago.
First home run in National League history. by Chicago White stocking Ross Barnes off Cherokee Fisher of the Cincinnati Reds. Here's how it was described in the Chicago Tribune. Barnes, coming to bat with 2 men out, made the finest hit of the game straight down the left field to the carriages for a clean home run.
Big swing by Hector Gomez. I've got a tweet from Chris who wants to know what Mott is kind of fiddling around with after each pitch. Well, he's got a necklace, actually a couple of chains on, and he said my undershirt's not tight enough, so because of that violent delivery, the necklace comes flying out of that shirt. So he does that little tuck it back in maneuver.
And obviously, its necklace has some importance to him. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't wear it. For a while, that would get a little annoying, but it's just part of his deal. Make the pitch, tuck in the necklace, go back to work.
Gomez making his 10th start on his first opening day roster. 15 games last year. And Mott's 2-2. It'll be Fowler in shallow center to make the grab, and that will end the inning. Leadoff walk, but no runs. Still 4-zip Brewers.
Thousand kids 13 and younger will be allowed on the field to run the bases. For more information on this program, visit Cubs.com/Sundays.
Logan Schaefer in for Carlos Gomez in center. Not sure if this is just 4-run lead. First day off the DL. Protect that hamstring.
Maybe just easing him back into things perhaps.
The last visiting starter to have back-to-back games here at Wrigley Field with at least 10 strikeouts was the Brewers' Giovanni Gallardo. 2010, and then his next start in 2011. Fires now with 11 today, 14 in his last start here. He is racking them up.
Yeah, he's going to force me to buy some red ink. And get another one of those invisiballs, that 90-mile-an-hour fastball. It's not sinking, and it just appears to be right there, but hitters are late getting started, and they don't catch up to it. Kind of guy that will lead to a lot of broken bats, not because he's jamming people or getting him off the end of the bat, because hitters are frustrated. They go back to the dugout, smash their bat in the tunnel. It looks hittable.
Tomahawk to deep center, back toward the wall, gone. They're on the board. Number 3 for Rizzo, now tied for the team lead.
Cubs broke through with a couple hits. Fires in the 5th. Now finally get on the board, and Rizzo able to get on top of that high fastball. This is not easy to do. But the big guy gets a hold of one. That's your 4th home run replay. Number 3 for Rizzo. Finally able to get on top of that high heater.
So he's 6 for 9 with 2 homers against Fires in his career. It just looks like Rizzo has eliminated whatever holes he had. And you don't see a ton of left-handed hitters, as you mentioned, get on top of that particular pitch.
No.
Jim Edmonds used to, but not too many guys. They like that ball down.
No, and his approach has been so good. He's probably frustrated he hasn't hit the ball out of the ballpark a little bit more often, but he's been so patient. Obviously, they pitch him very carefully. He's been hit by 8 pitches. He's taking his walks.
A 1-2 to Bryant. Swung on and missed. An even dozen now for Fires.
Third time Chris Bryant has struck out today. Got caught looking at a fastball first time, and the last 2 times swinging and missing it. A high fastball in this sequence. Everything up there above the hands.
Russell wasn't in the lineup last time Fires pitched here. DeNorfia wasn't. Montero wasn't. Bryant wasn't. Fowler wasn't. It's not as if he's facing the same lineup as he did last year. It could be just something about the mound here, the ballpark. It could be total coincidence. This is not the guy Ron Renicky had seen in the first month of the season.
No, but he is kind of like the guy he saw at the end of last year.
Right.
When he made those 10 starts, so they probably felt like it was in there, just hadn't shown up yet.
Curve is over. It's 2-2. Line right to the second baseman. Kind of handcuffed Herrera, but he made the catch, and the inning is over. Cubs get their first run today. Line shot homer, Anthony Rizzo. They trail 4-1 after 6.
near Clark and Addison. If you drive, the Cubs provide free parking and shuttle services on night and weekend games. It's located at 3900 North Rockwell. For details, visit Cubs.com.
Gonzalez, German, knocked around in his last outing. And he's going to face Gerardo Parra, who will bat for the starter Fiers.
Yeah, first two outings really, really good. Sharp, good command, showed a good changeup and a good breaking ball. And last time just went away. 4 hits and 4 runs in 1 inning. A couple of walks.
Parra, Schaefer, and Segura. I got the start yesterday in center. 2 for 3 and some Gold Glove defense. $34,878.
Great day to be in Chicago, man. I'm driving over here today. Lakefront was teeming with activity. Lincoln Park, all kinds of things going on. I feel like I was in better shape just driving by all those people.
Yeah, we know how to do good weather here in Chicago. People get out. Meaning outside, not out of the city. Swing and a miss, 2-1. Oh, really? Shivering looking at that.
Our throwing right-hander Jeremy Jeffress up. Saw him yesterday. Brewers bullpen has been okay, far better than the starters.
And Cisco Rodriguez back yet again with the Brewers, closing out ball games. Hasn't had many to close out. Coke. 2-2 on Parra. Fair ball through the bullpen. And it's a double.
Big chance for the Brewers to push for a little insurance here in the 7th inning. Leadoff double by Parra. Down and in a little bit. Rifled into the right field corner. Schaefer may be inclined to bunt here. Whoop. Nobody home. Castro out behind second base, able to catch that throw from Montero. Sometimes you'll see the shortstop sneaking. When you get that bunt through, try to catch that base runner leaning a little bit.
Russell covering first, close, but they got it.
He was doing a nice job of executing today. Stolen bases earlier in the ball game. Fiers got a sack down. That was part of that 2-run second inning. And now Schaefer pushing Parra along to third base, forcing the Cubs to pull the infield in.
Segura singles in all 3 plate appearances. Cedar, the third base coach, giving the signs. Guerrero, his first year over at first base.
Cubs bullpen collectively with a 3.27 ERA, 7th best in the National League. They were second best walk rate of any bullpen in the National League.
Suicide squeeze. The bunt is foul as Parra took off with the pitch.
Renicky trusting Segura to put that ball in play or at least get a piece of it. And Segura, a good handler of the bat, good contact guy, doesn't strike out much. Wasn't able to keep it fair, but avoided a disaster by fouling it off at least.
Hammers that ball into the gap. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Parra will trot home. Segura thinking 3. And he'll stand at third. A 4-for-4 afternoon for Gene Segura. 5-1.
Like real estate, right? Location, location, location. Trying to go down and away. It's out over the middle of the plate. Segura, who was trying to bunt one home, ends up with a triple.
And the infield will stay in as Segura takes over for Parra at third. And the batter is Ryan Braun.
Koch will be ready for Adam Lind, who's on deck.
So Joe Madden has made the call for Phil Koch to face Adam Lind. It's 5-1 Milwaukee in the 7th.
Hill working for the 11th time. Pitched on Wednesday against the Pirates. Had a couple runs in that ball game. He's allowed 11 hits in 6 innings. And he's pitched to an ERA of 7.5.
Got to do it. Wash down that barbecue with a little Coke.
Little Coke.
So Coke against Lind. Runners at first and third. Segura at third. Braun at first. AT&T Uverse Multiview. Coke trying to strand a couple of inherited runners.
Sweeping slider off the outside edge.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Didn't really change the formula, did he? 3 times off the outside corner, or on the corner with the first one, then a couple sliding off the edge, getting swings and misses from Lynn. Strikes out for the second time. Nothing for 4 for him today. Well, you got to sing here in a minute, don't you?
I do.
2 outs in the inning. You might want to get ready.
I'll be ready. All right. My wireless microphone. Key is when you're doing this, you don't.
You're like boiled ham. You're always ready. My old pitching coach Les Moss used to always say that.
Boiled ham is always ready.
Yeah, man. It's in the fridge. It's all wrapped up, ready. It's always ready. He's like boiled ham. He's always ready.
Davis rarely gets cheated. 1-1.
Had a breakout year in 2013. Didn't play a full season in the big leagues, but his home run rate was among the best in baseball that year.
His emergence, the reason Ryan Braun moved over to right. Nobody up in the bullpen, so still Coke's job to get this third out. Deep breath by the left-hander and a strike on the inside to make it 2-2. Ground ball, diving stop, Castro, throw to second, inning over. Let's do the stretch.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, the television voice of the Cubs, Len Casper.
All right, Cub fans, let's do this. Here we go, Gary. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's fracture out at the old ball game. Let's get some runs. Go Cubbies.
After pinch hitting, he'll stay in and play left, and Jeremy Jeffress on the pitch.
Hard throwing right-hander. Not a big guy, but he can light up the radar gun.
1-2-3 inning yesterday, and a strike on Starlin Castro. Five to 1 Milwaukee. Bat bounces to the shortstop Segura, and he fires across for the out.
So Edwin will be next for the Cubs. Jeffress, originally signed by the Brewers, moved on to the Royals organization, had a little big league time over there. Went to Toronto. More two-seam fastballs now than he did in the past.
Loopy breaking ball outside on Denorfia. He struck out his first time, singled for the Cubs' first hit. That was in the 5th. Cut and a miss. In between.
Well, yeah, and he kind of let it eat on that 2-0 fastball. Chase what probably would have been ball 3. And then didn't want to chase a bad one there and kind of got caught, as Len mentioned, in between. Jeffers is a little sneaky too. This is 96 miles an hour.
Close, little flinch by the home plate umpire, Ryan Blackman.
There's been a couple in this sequence. According to our pitch tracks there, 4 out of 5 in the zone. Clearly low there. Benorfia will accept a 1-out walk.
No doubt. Base runners at a premium. There's Chris Coghlan off the bench.
Now, normally it'd be Broxton for the 8th. He pitched yesterday. Fair number of pitches. I don't know if Ron Renicky would go to him today or not.
Outside, ball 1 to Coghlan.
Probably would, right? If he feels like he's the right man for the job. When you're 5-18, it's got a chance to win a ball game.
Coghlan came up empty. 1-1. Cubs being out hit 9-3. Mentioned 3 hours ago, the Brewers have not won a series this year. They have dropped at least 2 of 3 in all 7 sets they've played. So they need to hold on here late and then win tomorrow to win their first series of the season. That's how bad it's been. And in terms of save opportunities, this is their 24th game. They've had, if you add up all the save chances, all the pitchers, 3 save chances in the first 23 games. The Cubs have had 9 in their first 21.
Yeah, well, and they opened at home too. First 6 games of the season were at home, and they went 1-5 on that homestand. Were swept by the Rockies in a 3-game set. Lost 10-0 on opening day. Kind of set the tone.
Strike 3 called. Myers had 12 of them. Jeffress with his first.
I guess which way the wind is blowing doesn't matter a whole lot when you strike out 14 times.
Runner at first, 2 outs. Russell, ball 1. Field and out of play behind the Milwaukee pen.
It's also the anniversary of the double no-hitter here at Wrigley Field. Fred Toney of the Reds, Hippo Vaughn of the Cubs, each threw a no-hitter for 9 innings, and the Reds got 2 hits and a run in the top of the 10th to win that ball game. That's one of the ultimate hang with them right there.
Oh, yeah. Was it Bob Henley gave up 1 hit?
Koufax, yeah.
Perfect game the last time the Cubs were no hit, 1965. Swing and a miss for strike 3. I think the most popular Cub in the ballpark today might be a guy named Clark. The ladies love him.
Up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Or tablet. Hey, good job singing the stretch, by the way. You nailed it. Probably the best of the year.
Just follow Gary. That's all you got to do.
No, you got some skills, though. Good numbers for Edwin Jackson thus far. He's working for the 6th time. Control's been good, just 1 walk in 7 innings. That's sometimes a challenge when you're that long man. You don't work frequently to stay sharp. He's not pitched in high pressure situations. Last time out was Wednesday against the Pirates, 2 scoreless innings in that 8-1 loss.
A strike on Herrera. Nice note from Amy Schmidt. JD, you were right. Len was just like boiled ham.
Ready to roll.
Great compliment. Golfed in the air out into left center. That's Fowler. Key is to not look at yourself on the big board. Get self-conscious.
Catcher number 12.
They packed him in to hear you sing here today, Len, too. I think the word was on the street.
People assume that we don't get nervous speaking or in this case singing in front of big crowds because of what we do for a living. But generally what we're doing for a living is staring at an inanimate object when we're on camera. And you don't really consider how many people are watching you, but when you do the stretch, everyone's gawking at you.
The whole singing thing, yeah.
The 0-1 to Maldonado. Slider. A lot of downward tilt. Maldonado went.
Yeah, really got on top of that one. It was nasty.
Couple of hops to Castro. 2 outs. Bring up Hector Gomez.
Next up, the third baseman, Hector Gomez.
Jackson from the windup. And this is a little bit upstairs. Ball 1. It's over at Fenway. The Yankees beat the Red Sox 4-2. 15-9 are the Yankees, leading the American League East. Either Tom Otis Hellman has a very quick washing and drying machine, or he's got a different hat. Grass stains all over it after that early ball game collision with Anthony Rizzo. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Jackson makes quick work in the 8th. Cubs are down 4 late. Jeffress continues. Faced 4 batters. Did not give up a run in the 7th. Jorge Soler in the leadoff position today. And he's 0 for 2 with a walk. Ball 1.
Yeah, I think that Will Smith had been warming down in the pen, so he's ready for Rizzo in all likelihood.
So this note courtesy Elias from the Brewers Media Relations Department. Mike Fiers with 26 strikeouts. Joins Sandy Koufax, the only visitors here at Wrigley Field, with 26 plus strikeouts collectively in back-to-back starts. How about that?
It's pretty good company.
The 2-1 on the way is inside. 3 balls and a strike. Fowler next. Then Rizzo. This may be the Cubs' best chance to peck away at the top of the order here in the 8th. Nestled into center and a base hit. There's that strength from Jorge Soler.
And tinkering a little bit here today, putting Soler in the leadoff spot. He drew a leadoff walk in the bottom half of the first. Now, soft single to center, so 2 reaches today for Soler out of the leadoff spot. Looks like that'll do it for Jeffress.
Left-hander Will Smith is on. 5-1 Milwaukee in the 8th. Will turn Fowler around. He'll bat right-handed.
Cubs looking to make a lot of noise here in the 8th. Good start with a base hit by Soler. Now they got to get Smith, the lefty, who's 0-0 with a 245. Good time to call in a superhero and do some damage for you. Somebody needs to slide down that bat pole. Hit one out of here.
We referenced it yesterday. This Will Smith wrote a letter to the other more famous Will Smith.
Yeah, and I think in that letter he said, I too like to get jiggy with it.
Yeah, I guess there was a video as well. So besides having the same name, we're both tall, although I'm taller. You were in Wild Wild West. I own a cowboy hat. A fly to right. That's Braun battling the sun, and he makes the catch. Maybe a little deep.
Ooh, careful now.
Good throw to first. There's our Benny's Beverage Depot toast of the game. Anthony Rizzo with a home run to get the Cubs on the board. Their only run to date.
Number 3 for Rizzo. Stands in here against this tough left-hander.
So I've not seen an update that the other more famous Will Smith replied. The PS was the best. Is it cool if I tell people we hang out all the time? If not, I'll stop.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere where he decided to write Will Smith when he Googled his name, and it took him like 13 pages to get to himself because everything was about the actor.
Rizzo's a very dangerous hitter versus righties or lefties. I'm sure Ron Renicky wants Will Smith to be pretty aggressive here, not nibble in this spot. He's going to get him. Two down.
And Jonathan Broxton is now up in the Brewers bullpen. We may have seen Broxton for Bryant had Rizzo reached. Tough day so far for Chris. 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs. He'd probably rather face Aroldis Chapman than Mike Fiers, the way his day went against Fiers.
We've gone to extras in St. Louis again. 1-1 Pirates and Cardinals. I wouldn't say a wasted effort, but no decision for Francisco Liriano. He went 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run.
And Lackey for the Cardinals today?
Today was John Lackey, 6 innings.
Lynn was good for them yesterday. So they've continued to pitch very well without Adam Wainwright. Martinez kid has been very good.
1-2 to Bryant. 3 at-bats, 3 strikeouts.
I'm guessing this is the longest home run drought of his professional career.
It's got to be. He hit 43 last year.
Fun last year. It seemed like every time we'd read that minor league report, Chris Bryant went deep. Chris Bryant went deep. I suspect once he gets that first one out of the way, they'll start to come with some regularity.
He hit 9 in spring training, many against frontline major league pitchers, including Felix Hernandez. I know it's only spring training, but the last thing the Cubs are worried about is his home run stroke. Swing and a miss to end the inning. Tough day for Bryant and the Cubs offense. It's 5-1 as we go to the 9th. Cubs have struck out in this game now 15 times, 12 times against Mike Fiers in his 6 innings. Edwin Jackson in his second inning of work. 2-3 in the 8th. Paris, Schaefer, Segura due up.
Arrieta went 5, and then Mott, German, Koch, and Jackson.
Bryant in at third on the grass. Wide open stance for the left-handed hitter. And the breaking ball misses high for ball 1. Now 2-0. Fair ball backhanded by Rizzo into foul territory, and Jackson right on the bag. Haven't seen a ton of those 3-1s so far this year. A lot of them last year. Anthony's a very good thrower. He's of good feeds to first base.
Yeah, he really plays the position well. He's not yet made an error down there this year. That ball up above the belt.
Schaefer came on in the 6th inning for Carlos Gomez, who had just been activated from the DL. 1-1. Marlins out to an early 4-0 lead over the Phillies. And if they win that game, it's a 4-0. Bottom 3 there. The Marlins are back to 500 after a slow start. The throw bounces, and Schaefer will end up at second. And now he's going to move to third. And the throw gets away, and he's going to score. Although we have interference here as Ed Cedar got in the way. Oh, my goodness.
Talk about the ultimate Little League home run.
That was ugly. About 3 different things we're going to need to look at here. It's an error on Castro.
Rizzo just got done saying he had committed an error. I think he got charged with one.
In the dirt now.
Kind of a shot put throw.
I don't know if Rizzo just kind of assumed he was going to stop. Yep, he just picked it up and then kind of blindly fired it toward third. And it looked to me like Schaefer ran into the umpire and or Ed Cedar coming around third, although Cedar was not assisting him at all.
No, if anything, he was impeding him.
Wow, 6-1. So what do we have? E6, E3?
E6, E3. That's a yard sale there. A lot of junk everywhere. Split the defense. Worked his way around the umpire and the third base coach.
Well, I have to say it again. Why are all these errors made when Edwin pitches? I mean, it's just it's the weirdest coincidence. Yeah. He gave up a bunch of unearned runs in spring training too. He's just been that guy. Hard to explain. He got the desired result, right?
Yeah.
A little dribbler to short.
Did his piece.
Segura trying to complete what would be a perfect afternoon if he gets a knock. And as he sends it down the right field line, foul.
Look at those fans are saying, third base.
Swing and a miss. And strike 3.
Right fielder.
They have.
Ryan Braun.
Oh, did they give Cash? I think they changed that hit earlier to an error. Is that possible?
The Segura play.
Well, they've got 3. I've got 3 errors listed here for the Cubs. 2 for Starlin. I don't know if that's right.
They may have changed Segura's ball in the second inning. It was a play I thought Starlin should have made, but I don't know. I was a little surprised when they initially ruled hit.
Yeah, I think it's 2 errors for the Cubs here in this inning, and that's it. We'll check.
What do you've got a line score showing 3 errors?
Yeah, MLB at bat app's got Castro with 2 throwing errors, but that wouldn't have been a throwing error anyway. The other one.
No, it would be a 2-base error, but
right.
It wouldn't be 2 errors.
Correct.
So that's probably just a wrong interpretation by somebody working the magic machine.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 to end the inning. Schaefer rounds the bases on 2 errors. It's 6-1 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Our Weber Grill Seasons and Sauce call to the pen brings on Francisco Rodriguez. K-Rod.
The Brewers have not been winning a lot of games, so K-Rod's name has not been called all that often. He's worked 7 times. 3 for 3 in save opportunities. He's also picked up a couple of losses along the way. He has not pitched since Sunday. Signed in March to a 2-year deal.
This is not a save situation for him with a 5-run lead. Ron Renicke's not going to take any chances.
No, and he's got to get him some work. So, like every lead they have is a save opportunity of sorts.
Big swing by Montero. 1 strike.
Trying to jump on that first pitch fastball. Rodriguez has a really good changeup. That's probably the pitch that most hitters are concerned with when facing K-Rod.
Lined into center for a leadoff single.
Montero hit it on the screws last time up and went as a line out to second base. This time goes down and gets a pretty good sinker and delivers a leadoff single. Rodriguez has 351 career saves. That's good for 10th on the all-time list. 7 behind Troy Percival.
Ball 1 to Castro. Rodriguez signed in late February. Come back to the Brewers. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Like he's throwing a styrofoam cup. Never seems to get there.
Pulled foul. It's Gary Jones at third.
A quiet couple of days for Gary Jones.
Yeah, the Cubs won with only 1 run yesterday, but they're trailing. They're only 1 tally today. A couple of solo home runs, Russell and Rizzo. That's been it.
Well, that'll be 3 straight games with just 1 run. Got beat 8-1 on Wednesday.
He struck him out swinging, 1 away. Whiff City today for this offense against Fires and company.
Starlin wanted to hit that one on Waveland. Got 16 strikeouts for the Cubs today.
Had a Denarthia on a curveball. Montero started the inning with a single. Now 1 away. And a 1-0 delivery. 2 balls, no strikes. Junior Lake on deck. For Jackson. All arms and legs. Rodriguez with a fastball at 89 in there, 2-1. He's running full. I don't know if you're doing what you should do in this spot, grind it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just looking for base runners. If nothing else, force Rodriguez to throw a bunch of pitches. Now, I don't know what that number would be where you would render him unavailable for tomorrow, because he has been used sparingly here of late.
Swing and a miss for out number 2.
Dandy of an off-speed pitch into Norfield way out in front.
Ladies and gentlemen, pitching for the Cubs, number 21, Junior Lake.
Last chance, it's Junior Lake.
It's 17 strikeouts for the Cubs. I'm looking down at my scorecard at all these red Ks. I'm reminiscing back to the Kerry Wood game when he got 20 here in '98. One man did that.
Amazing.
And the anniversary of Clemens' first 20 strikeout game passed just the other day.
Woody's is coming up, right?
Early May?
May 6th?
May 8th? Something like that.
One and one on Lake. Here it is. Fouled off. May 6th, 1998.
We know the record for the most times the Cubs have been struck out in a ball game.
You can find it. Two and two. An interesting day for home plate umpire Ryan Blackney.
Yeah, he's been a little spotty, but again, I'm not sure, but this may be his first major league assignment behind home plate.
He made his debut last week at this level. 2-2, swing and a miss. And that's an appropriate ending to this one, as the final 3 Cub batters all strike out against K-Rod in a non-save spot. Ryan Braun with a 2-run homer in the first inning, and that would be all Mike Fiers and company would need.
Yeah, it's funny. I think back to our pregame conversation, and I said, boy, the pitching matchup really favors the Cubs here this afternoon. When you look at what Arrieta had done this year, what he'd done in this ballpark since joining the Cubs, his numbers against the Brewers, the fact that Fiers hadn't made it through 6 innings yet this year, but another great example of why you don't bet on baseball. Arrieta struggled a little bit early, and Fiers was just outstanding.
18 strikeouts for Brewers pitching today. So your final score, Milwaukee 6 and the Cubs 1. We're back with you here on CSN Chicago. Game 1 of a 4-game set in St. Louis. Our first good look and our second look overall at the Redbirds. Coming up next, Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs post-game live. Stay tuned.